How do I stay true to myself and my art when I'm sharing the entire journey online? I'm required to perform, to be successful so I can continue my practice. It's a paradox. But over the past few months, I have realized the importance of focusing on my story in order to succeed. Good morning, guys. I am so excited to be back here in my studio. If you haven't seen, for the last month I have been away in Germany and Switzerland, hiking, having the best time in nature, but it also made me appreciate what I have here in the studio and also my work and my art and the routines that I've set up for myself. And as you may have guessed, I am so excited to get back into painting and working on my picture book, Adena and Her Star. If you're new to my work or my channel, hey, my name's Chantal. I am a watercolor artist, storyteller. I love to bring my stories to life in whatever medium, and for the last couple years I have been writing and illustrating my own picture book called Adena and Her Star, which I just love to work on. It is my passion project. I love it so much because no matter how old you are, you can appreciate the story and interpret it a different way depending on your own metaphors and life experiences, and just love bringing it into the world. So today we are going to get started with sketching out and painting page 14. Hey guys, I just finished out sketching this page. I actually planned it all while I was in Germany so I could get here and just sketch it on the big page. I didn't sketch the background though for the trees because I want to have like a cool perspective of Adena almost looking up at the trees, like the trees are above you, like you're looking above the trees. The perspective doesn't really work like that to tell the story, so I'm going to distort the perspective. If anybody comes to me and says the perspective is wrong, it's like that on purpose because I want us to feel like she is looking up at the sky. It'll all make sense. It'll all make sense when you see it. So I still have to sketch in the background, but right now I'm hungry. So I think I'm gonna go and grab some lunch, come back and sketch, and maybe start painting Adena. Let's go. At the beginning of August, I left my art studio and my art for the first time in 3 years. It begged me to reflect who I am as an artist and who I am creating for. This trip was full of many returns, but the biggest return I found was during my hike in the Swiss Alps. I missed the turn to my dream destination and had to return back to my starting point. Not only did this hike push me to my physical limits and broke my morale, it asked me to reflect on my picture book and if this is how I would feel if I didn't achieve my dreams. Perhaps that in order to get to the destination, because I did return at the end of the week, I needed to return to the beginning of my hike. I need to return to the beginning of why I am creating this book. So here in page 13, that's exactly what I did. I started to paint for myself again, taking time with all the details and also later on experimenting with my art style to produce my best possible work. I always start every page with Adena, who is my main character, and she's like a little me, and the journey that she goes through in this book is illustrated in the development of my art style over the few years that I will be creating this work. I really wanted to make her expressions throughout this story very human and subtle. I really wanted to pay close attention to everything that she is feeling as she goes on the journey across the Australian countryside to find her best friend Star, who mysteriously disappears one morning. And on the way, she asks all of her animal friends for help if they have seen Star. And in this page, she's gone from the kangaroos and she's asking the glossy blacks. Good morning, guys. Today is such a beautiful day and we are going to be painting page 13. But before we dive in, I have to create the print for my snail mail club, ADENA'S mail, and if you haven't heard of it, every month I send out a little letter to your mailbox that includes a letter from me about what is happening behind the scenes, a little mystery item like a bookmark or a sticker, and of course a little print that is inspired by ADENA'S world and is full of nostalgia. So if that's something you'd like to be part of, the link is in my description. And also, if you're part of ADENA'S mail, or if you want to sign up separately to ADENA'S world, I kind of also share behind the scenes of my work and analyses of kind of every page of my book and why I illustrate the way I illustrate. I upload those to Instagram, but I also send them out on email. And in order to create these beautiful emails, I use Omnisend. So let's talk a little bit about them. Omnisend is the leading platform for email or SMS marketing, and they can easily integrate with your online shop, whether you have Shopify, Woo, Wix, and so many more. When someone subscribes to your email list in your online shop, it automatically pops up in your subscriber list in Omnisend. If you are a small business, chances are you will constantly be launching new products, projects, and perhaps even taking pre-orders. The number one way to keep people engaged and up to date is not through social media, as you might think, but by sending emails. I will be self-publishing my picture book next year, and to those who want early access are on a special pre-order list. This is why I love Omnisend, because with their segment and tag feature, you can separate your subscribers into different lists. Omnisend also has some of the best email templates, and when I'm creating emails for my subscribers, I really want them to be like a work of art, an extension of the world that I've created. And with Omnisend's platform, I can do just that. I can layer images, add videos, and really put it onto the brand that I have created with my art. They also have templates for automations, which are emails sent out automatically, like reviews or abandoned carts, which are super important for growing your business. And small businesses using Omnisend see an average of $68 return of investment for every dollar spent. I use Omnisend to send out updates for my exclusive pre-order club, ADENA'S World, and I'm just about to send an email at the end of this month about the analysis of my first 5 pages. So if that's something you'd like to see, you can sign up below. And if you're a small business and would like to get started with Omnisend, you can grab 30% off any paid plan for the first 3 months with code Chantal Leonhardt. Good afternoon, guys. We're back for another afternoon painting session. It's been about a week and I obviously haven't made that much progress, as you can see, but she needs to be finished this week. So I really think that I'm going to start painting in the mornings because that's when I have the most energy, and I want to know how much I can paint if I start early on in the day. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow, maybe, hopefully. But today I've got about 3 or 4 hours maybe, and I'm going to try and finish the glossy black, which is coming along beautifully. Let me show you. This reflection also led me to consider the effects of capitalism on the sacred creation of art. I mean, capitalism rewards us for creating art that adds to a utilitarian society. Like, everything has a use. But what I want is to inspire my inner child and other people's inner child, for us to make room to be curious about our interests, to slow down and live fully in life's moments, and to chase our dreams and what we really want to create and put out in the world. And sometimes there is very utilitarian aspect in that. It's selfish, it's childish, it's dreamlike. It goes against everything capitalism stands for, and yet I need to monetize it if I want to continue to create art that centers around this message. And commodifying the essence of our inner child or nostalgia or even the soulful creation of art to an extent goes against its very innate nature and existence. It's a double paradox. I know that many artists and creatives will feel the same. How can we prioritize the meaning and message of our art when the world is telling us to create and produce more? Although we may have escaped the 9 to 5, creating art for consumption is very similar to the corporate ladder. So even though one day you may be a rich artist in money, you're still starving in so many other ways. You're fighting to make the best art piece, to get into the best gallery, to stay on top of the trends. There is always something that needs your attention. Good afternoon, guys. It is the next day, and you might be saying, Chantal, the page still looks blank. Still looks like what we were working on yesterday. Indeed it does. Rather embarrassed I am. I spent 3 hours on the tail of the glossy black. And some people say to me, you know, Chantal, the details don't make a difference. They make a difference to me. Okay, I know they're there and I know what I've done. And when I look back from the work, I see the difference the details make, okay? And I just love the details so much, you know, they just make my work what it is. But we're gonna try and finish the glossy black today. We definitely are, it's very early in the afternoon. And I'm gonna try and sketch out the trees exactly how I want them, which is gonna be a task of difficulty, something that I've been avoiding, something that is very difficult because I'm kind of distorting the perspective a little bit. Yeah, anyway, we'll see how it goes. I'm very excited. We're gonna jump into the glossy black. Let's go. Good morning, guys. I know I'm not in my studio, but today I thought we would go on a little adventure to find some she oak trees. I don't think we're going to see any glossy blacks, especially with the red tails. There's ones with the yellow tails, which are more common, that come and eat the little pine cones down my driveway, but we are looking for some drooping she oaks, which is the forests that got burnt a lot in the 2019-2020 bushfires, which came across like half of Kangaroo Island where I live and wiped out a lot of the population of the glossy blacks with the red tails because they feed from the she oak trees, especially the drooping ones, and there's not many of those trees left that are like been there for a long time. They've only just been replanted. So we are going to go to Duck Lagoon, which I researched, and apparently there are some she oak trees in that little lagoon area. So we're going to go and try and find some. So let's go. Guys, I found some more she oak trees and they look way healthier than the ones I was just showing you, so let's go and explore them. This looks definitely more like what I want to paint in my book. Yep. Hey guys, I'm back. It's the next day. I've just spent the last hour or so, sketching out the trees in the background, and they are looking so good, and I think it's just going to make painting them realistically to my reference photos from the adventure we went on the other day so easy and more efficient. So I'm so excited to get into it. Sometimes distancing from your art allows you to make room to come back and produce your best painting yet. I don't know if I would have painted these she oak trees with the level of realism and dedication as I did without going and seeing them in person. I really got a feel for how they moved in the wind and how I wanted to encapsulate that on paper. Although it was a lot of work with lots of different layers, I think I was able to manifest who they are in real life on paper. Good morning, guys. We are back the very next day, and I am going to spend all day working on this piece. Yesterday I realized that I'm such a perfectionist in my work. I mean, I already kind of knew that, but sometimes it's a really big struggle of how I want to create things, and I need to use it to my advantage. I found a really good technique yesterday to paint the drooping she oak tree. It doesn't look exactly like the reference, but it's recognizable. Like, you would, if you were Australian, especially living on Kangaroo Island where these trees are, you would know that that's what they are. And I just love the composition of this piece. I think I did so well. I tried to add more shadows because, as you guys say, when you critique my work and I ask for what do you guys think I should do to improve my work, everybody is always like, contrast girl, you have no contrast in your work. And I like having no contrast. That is something that is very part of my art style, but I think I can include contrast without sacrificing the art style that I've created, that is all about whimsy and nurturing and inspiring our inner child. And experimenting in my work to try and find that ground is a little bit difficult, but I think this piece is going to be the first piece that really shows my experimentation in how to add contrast to my style, and I'm excited to show you guys the end piece. I'm so excited to experiment as well in the foreground and just have more depth with that perspective we have with the contrast as well. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. So we are left with the question, how do I stay true to my inner child when I want to be successful, or I need to be successful in order to continue my practice? How can we survive then as an artist? How do we create without feeling the need to prioritize the monetization of it? I know that when you focus on the story, everything else will follow. Of course, you can't turn a blind eye to marketing or making connections in the industry, etc. But in order for your book to be successful in the ways you dream of, and it having the impact you intended, I know that perfecting my story needs to be the focus. Morning, my muffin pies! Guess who's back in the studio and who is going to finish page 13 this week? This girl. Wait, it's freezing. I'm trying to store. When I've just come back into the studio after the weekend, and whenever I come back in, I see all the things that we need to change, fix. I have a new perspective on the work and everything that needs to change, except for the glossy black, except for the bird. She's stunning. She's looks so alive, like it could just fly off the page. I'm honestly really, really proud of that bird. I know I can paint animals well, at least. But the tree needs work. ADENA needs work. I think we're going to come back to those things though after we finish the rest of the page and really work on those details. So without further ado, Prioritizing my story means implementing systems that inspire my inner child and relieve the pressure to perform. One way is to create art behind the camera. Create art that I don't need to show to anyone, whether that is doodles in my sketchbook or a little watercolor studies. This means that I break the pattern of perfectionism. I make room to just be myself, to not have the pressure to create something that I'm going to put out in the world and that someone else is going to see or judge. And this means that I can make room for new ideas to bloom and grow that might impact and inspire my bigger and more professional work. Good afternoon, guys. We are back today to finish or get very close to finishing page 13. I'm so excited. However, we do have a few exciting announcements. The first is that my 2026 gift card calendar is finished. I have to cut her up and put her together yet, but I just picked a sample up from the printers. She is looking gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that. And the objective of this calendar is that at the end of the year, you will be able to cut out the top of it. You'll be able to cut out, fold it in half, and you have a little card. So whenever you're looking for a card to use at the end of each month, you've got the perfect card with the gorgeous illustration. So the second thing is that I did paint the foreground of page 13 last night. Such bad lighting, so I didn't really film it. Sorry guys, but I had to make this hill darker so that it lifts out and puts the sheet oak tree of this one, which is much lighter, in the foreground. However, it's too dark that it doesn't really make sense. And with watercolor, you can't go back. Once it's dark, that's the end. You can't make it lighter. So, and I was like, I really need just a little bit of gouache just to fix some areas, you know, just a little bit. Feel like a phony. Feel like a fake watercolor artist. But I did get myself some gouache today from the local shops, and it's $45 for this little packet of gouache, which would probably be like $18. I looked it up online if I lived in Adelaide in the city. So that's fun times. The last thing what we have, special announcement, is that I got a lovely PR package from Indigo Luna, and when I saw Hitomi's collab with them come out, I was like, wow, this is such a cool brand. I would love to wear their clothes. And like the next week, they sent me a message and said, Chantal, would love to send you a few pieces. And I was like, send them over. So these are the few pieces that I picked out, and I'm so excited. Let's open them together. We're going into spring and summer. But you better believe in those cold nights, I will be wearing this. I feel like this is a cloth that would last forever. You know when you buy some clothes and you're like, you're going to be with me for a long time. And I also got some nice chocolate brown leggings. Look, they match so well. Anyway, that's what I got. Thank you so much, Indigo Luna. I will be wearing very soon. Let's put on the jumper. Huh. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is what I need when I'm hiking. Oh, this is going to be so good when I'm hiking in the mountains again. So freaking good. Anyway, guys, without further ado, we got a lot to do today, so we're going to jump right in. Guys, we have a huge day today. Firstly, I need to finish page 13 right now because it needs to dry so I can photograph it later because I want to upload it this weekend, which means that I have to film all the intros and the outros and photograph it, everything in the sunshine. There's no sunshine for a week, so I have to do it today anyway, but it has to go up on the weekend anyway, so Secondly, on the note that there's no sunshine for a week, I also have to photograph and film all the marketing for my 2026 calendar. So I need to do that, which is a lot of work. And then I also need to make clay trinket dishes for my kids' workshop next week. They need to be done today so they dry in time. But I feel like that's like later in the day. I have an art club also on tonight, a cozy adults art club. Got 8 people coming, so I need to set up for that around, I think, 5:30, and I might make my trinket dishes within the art. Another way that I get excited to create for my inner child and also appreciate my work and my picture book when I do come back to it is to create art in other mediums. And this includes writing, journaling in the morning, poetry, purple prose, and of course, editing my YouTube videos. Really, any art medium that I find myself curious about and want to try, I pursue it and I explore that medium because it allows me to inspire my inner child and motivate me to keep illustrating my picture book. The last way is having a part-time job and also having lots of different income streams as an artist, whether that's farmers markets, art fairs, workshops, commissions, freelance work, you name it, I've done it. And this puts the pressure of finishing my picture book fast just so I can make money off of it. I can focus on the story and the impact I want it to have in the world. Focusing on my story means honouring my creativity and inner child by stepping outside the algorithms that require me to perform. Alright guys, we're a couple hours later. It's reflection time, guys. I finally finished. To be honest, I could add more details, but I fear that those details actually wouldn't make a difference. I am so happy with this piece. I took like everybody's critique and feedback in every single one of my videos that you guys leave in the comments. I honestly appreciate it. I love it. I love like what people see in my work. Sometimes you validate what I am feeling, which is super helpful, and it also helps the algorithm. So if you continue, please leave paragraphs in my videos. please. And I really did take a lot of that critique, especially with the perspective and the contrast of my work, like having depth in my contrast. A lot of people, especially myself, can see that is a limitation in my art style. So this one, I really think I did good, guys. Like, I really think that is there problems? Is there things that we could fix? 100%. Don't forget this is watercolor. But I really like how we have the depth of like this tree is in the foreground, this tree is further in the background. But we also have the perspective of Adena being in the front, and she's like within the painting. I put a few little strands of leaf in front of her, which someone said that in one of my previous paintings, and I was like, that's a good idea for this one. So thank you to whoever said that. I did it here and I love it. It looks so good. Like, I'm gonna start doing that with every painting. And also this like dark field in the background, you know, it could be a field of a farmer's crop growing clover or growing beans, and I needed that to be dark in order to lift and bring forward this she oak tree, which is lighter in colour. The perspective, the dimension, and then of course we have this very light field in the front here, so we can contrast with the darkness of Adena, which is right in the foreground. And of course we have the glossy black, which is, I rarely ever paint with black, so I feel like that's where most of the contrast comes in, and the lovely blue sky in the background. So I also went above and beyond with the level of detail in this work compared to my previous pieces. There is a lot more like dimension in Adena's dress. So, you know guys, I'm proud of myself. I feel like this is one of my best pages yet. And like, especially the glossy black, she has so much detail and so much work in there. Last thing that I want to say, is that can we take a moment for the composition, because I really put a lot of intention into this composition. I really want to level up the composition that I use in my pages, because most of the time it's like grid of thirds or the golden ratio, but this one has like so many things going on. Like we got a beautiful like balance in each corner of the page, and then this one side is also definitely a lot heavier, so to bring it like in and create like a triangle, we have little echidna here, but like it's not the main focus, but it just provides a little bit more balance and to fill this empty space here between Adena and the glossy black. I love it. I love it. I'm proud of myself. I hope you guys love this page too. If you guys have any thoughts, you want to add anything, or you think I could change anything or work on anything in my next page, let me know. I love to hear what people think. I want to bring my story into the world in the best possible way, and I'm not going to be the only one that enjoys it. Like, I have to put it out into the world and sell it in order to keep going as an artist. So if there are people out there that want to, you know, help me along this journey, I very much appreciate it. So yeah, thank you so much for following along. I can't wait to paint the next page, which is actually going to be quite different from a lot of my other pages. It's going to be quite detailed and quite a close shot. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys for page 14.